Our top story this hour, Hong Kong dissident Joshua Wong is among 3 Hong Kong activists who have been sentenced to jail for taking part in last year's democracy protests. The defendants have called on protesters to besiege the headquarters and chanted slogans that undermine the police force. Magistrate Wong Lai has said that she sentenced Wong to 13.5 months, Cha to 10 months and Lam to 7 months in jail. 24-year-old Wong, one of the Hong Kong's most prominent pro-democracy activists, was jailed for a total of 13.5 months after pleading guilty to charges related to unlawful assembly at last year's anti-government protests. Fellow activists Agnes Chow and Ian Lam were jailed for a total of 10 and 7 months respectively after pleading guilty to charges linked to the same siege of police headquarters. Now the judge reduced overall jail term after their guilty pleas. Wong, Chow and Lam joined Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement when they were in their teens. More than 10,000 people have been arrested over the last 18 months, and most of Hong Kong's leading activists and opposition figures face prosecution now. Meanwhile, the bio on Joshua Wong's Twitter account has been updated to read currently in jail account managed by friends. The activist has, however, 737,000 followers on the micro-blogging website. And now joining us live from Hong Kong is Ryan Kilpatrick. Thank you so much for joining us. He's a journalist and special correspondent for the LA Times and Washington Post. Joshua Wong and his fellow activists have been sentenced to jail, as you of course know. What is the situation on ground like now?
Well, at the court, there are dozens of his supporters there to cheer him on. And outside of the court, this has just become another symbol of this enduring and growing crackdown on dissidents in Hong Kong. They're just among the dozens of leading activists and legislators who have been prosecuted or investigated over last year's protests. So the atmosphere keeps getting darker in Hong Kong. Although Joshua Wong himself and Agnes Chow and Ivan Lam have been trying to give words of support to their protesters at this point.
To come to that this may add to the ongoing unrest in the country, and of course, as you know, earlier Joshua Wong had affirmed this would not hinder his activism. What can we expect now?
Well, for the next 13.5 months for Joshua and 10 months for Agnes, obviously they will be in jail. They won't be leading figureheads of this movement like they were in the past. And so others will have to come to the fore in their place. But for Joshua, this is his 4th time being imprisoned for his activism, even though he's just 24 years old. So he is used to this drill. He will be back and continue his work afterwards, although he is facing 2 other charges relating to another protest last year and the Tiananmen Square massacre candlelight vigil this year. So he could face even further jail time. But he's consistently been trying this whole time to be diverting attention away from himself and towards other less famous figures who are also being prosecuted, yes. Most notably the 12 Hong Kongers who are still detained in mainland China for trying to escape.
Yes, and just for more clarity on that, as we mentioned, more than 10,000 people have been arrested and a lot of the opposition figures are also being prosecuted. What can we expect on that front?
Well, I think, of course, we can expect more prosecutions and investigations going forward as this dragnet keeps picking up. Virtually everyone who was politically active over the past couple of years. It's very open at this point. But the government has effectively declared war on the opposition. So we can expect this crackdown to only further in the future, as well as the additional charges Joshua Wong is facing. Of course, Agnes Chow was also arrested in her home in August on suspicion of violating the national security law. And although she hasn't been charged or convicted yet, if she were convicted, could face up to life imprisonment on the charge of inciting secession.
Yes. All right, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us with all those details.